Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, in the state, known to the rest of the nation as California. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right, you don't. My name is Mike Piroworski. Excuse me, had a little cough there. And I am your, it's cold here in Florida today. I am your co-host from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most. Here on the Rundown, 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, how's your day been? How's things going out there in wild, wild West land?
Well, you know what? I am, it's Thirsty Thursday, and I am thirsty because, my attempt to begin the weekend on Hump Day has utterly failed. I have a long work day yesterday, a very long work day today, and probably going to have a long work day tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm kind of thirsty.
Oh, you see, now you started talking about Hump Day. I'm like, wait a second, is today Hump Day? Didn't we do that yesterday?
No. I'm just noting that my attempt to begin the weekend has been an epic fail so far.
Oh, no. I got there as you said it, but when you started, I was like, hey, is it Hump Day already? Is it still Hump Day?
Is it still Hump Day?
You know, like when you take a nap and you wake up sometimes, you're like, is it tomorrow?
You're like, wait, it's still today.
Still today. Crap. Yeah, listen, I it's funny you say that because what I did today for dinner, actually for lunch today, the child has off from school because of just some weird schedule they have. So we made street tacos here at the house. So
Ooh.
It was, I did it on a Thursday. So
street tacos on a Thursday? That sounds kind of sacrilegious. Or are you just spreading out the week, right? Taco Tuesdays now, Taco Thursday?
Well, listen, we got Thanksgiving next week, so it's all messed up anyway.
Then turkey tacos. I don't know, man. I've never had a turkey taco. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Just hating on the big bird. That's all that is. You're just hating on the big bird.
That's it. The big, freakish, California-looking turkey bird, whatever it is. That's Newsom.
That's Newsom.
Big, freakish California turkey bird, Governor Newsom. Yeah.
You know, the odd thing out here in California is there are an odd number of wild turkeys in like suburban, even urban areas. You'll just be like, I was on the bike path just yesterday running, and I'm running and I see a group of wild turkeys on the bike path, and I'm like, does this happen? I mean, do you not know it's Thanksgiving? You need to get out of here.
Listen, if true, that's amazing fact. But I think I'd want to show you some lineups of birds to make sure you know what a turkey looks like. I think you're looking at vultures or something. I think it's some California sewer rat that's just walking around like a turkey or something.
I have in fact on this very same bike trail seen a vulture. In fact, I was running. I saw one from a distance. It was pretty big, and I thought it was a turkey until it flew. Then I was like, that's a vulture.
Is this down on Peyote Trail? Is this where you're riding your bike?
Nope, not on Peyote Trail. Not at all.
Okay, just checking.
But or as the great El Rushbo used to say, for those of you in Rio Linda.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
By the way, you may not know this, but so Rio Linda, if you ever listen to Rush Limbaugh, whenever he used to say, for those of you in Rio Linda is it's not a town because it's not actually a town, but it's a community just outside of the city proper of Sacramento. And how do I want to put this? It's very Murica-ish, shall we say?
Right.
I'll just leave it at that.
They. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Lots of trailers. Tends to be flooding in that area. In fact, all the water that generally would run off from the city of Sacramento used to kind of get pushed over into Rio Linda.
Well, that's why they're in trailers, Craig, because they want that 4 foot of water to go underneath them.
There you go. Exactly. See, they're thinking. I'm not stupid. I'm smart.
That's what my mama said. Mama said I'm smart.
All right, enough of the enough of the rambling. How about we give a shout out to our sponsors before we begin the program?
We shall. Let's start off with our good friends over at, and I got this comment yesterday. Mike, they're all your good friends. Well, everybody's my good friend. You listen, that's just the way it goes. Let's start off with our good friends and I'm going to, folks, if you don't know, I've been mixing them up because Craig's got the front sheets where he shows the pictures, and I don't tell him what order I'm going to do them in, just to see how quick he can respond. So let's go with our good friends at the California Republican Assembly. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight there in California, giving you all the things you need to know about your Republican candidates. Please reach out and help them. You see what a good job they did. Listen, what are we, 30, 37, 47 days now after the election, and California still can't count all those Republican votes. So let's talk about our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR in the last 5 years, odds are you probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Now you can get a new one direct from them for your next build, or, if you want to rebarrel the rifle you currently have. That's hitmanindustries.net. Let's say hello to our good friend Scott. Scott's a veteran-owned and operated company as well, out there at uscombatgear.com. That's uscombatgear.com. Get all your tactical gear and web gear needs. And of course, the newest kid on the block with us, Hog Holsters, HAWG Holsters, Hog Holsters. That's helping Americans wear guns. Hog Holsters. Make sure you sign on there. Take a look at the gear they got. John makes the best holsters he's got. That's all I have now. I even got rid of the formed leather with the plastic inserts. All gone. It's nothing but the finest holsters from Hog Holster for me now. And use the code The Rundown. That's The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, and you get yourself a nice little discount. Go get you some today.
Yes, folks. Look, these are the folks who bring us to you. They help us to be able to be on the air every day, to be able to come to you. Do us a favor. Go to them. Check them out. The links to their websites are in the description to this program. So you don't even have to type it in. You don't even have to memorize it. All you got to do is click on a link. And when you go there, see what they got for you. I promise you, we would not recommend that you check them out if we did not believe that you would like what you would see. So go there, kick them down some cash, and make sure you tell them that it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you.
It's the way to do it. Listen, I've got my AR on a U.S. Combat Gear sling with my gun, my sidearm tucked in my Hog holster while I look at the California Republican Assembly's website.
Yeah, so we can make fun of what the left is trying to do to us here in California.
Yeah, I do it like this too. I go, "Did you look at that AR?" Because they can't go to New York State.
Yeah. Good times, good times. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into today's news. It has finally happened. It only took a week and a day for the vote totals to finally come out, and it does appear that Republicans have finally taken over control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, there are still a number of seats that are still out there, but all of them tend to be left-leaning. But 218 votes was the magic number in order to take over control of the House of Representatives, and they affirmed that yesterday. There is still one more. There's only really like one more seat out there that is Republican leaning that we believe is going to wind up going our direction. The others are still kind of going back and forth and are still kind of in play. But in essence, I think there are still another 7 seats that still need to be decided. Now, the interesting thing about this is, and I know that we've only taken over 11 seats. But one of the things that I think that we forgot to talk about when we talked about the red wave was that, Mike, the red wave didn't start in 2022. The reality is it actually started in 2020. In that despite losing the presidential election, Republicans picked up a lot of seats in the House of Representatives in 2020, and that's something that and also picked up a lot of state house seats, a lot of gubernatorialships. That's something that not a lot of people are talking about and putting 2 and 2 together like that.
Because, Craig, that wouldn't be the narrative, right? That's not what they want to put out there. They want you to think that this giant blue diaper wearing wave came through and took control of everything. It's not so. Again, it's all about the narrative, folks. Control the media, control the message, control the message, control the masses. They've got everybody thinking the way they want to right now.
Yeah, it's funny because and I kind of get it, but Democrats are proclaiming victory even though they lost 11 seats in the House, even though they are likely not going to gain any seats. They're probably going to wind up staying pat in the Senate. The fact is that they've lost control of one of the houses. So now all of the stuff that they tried to do or that they did to us in the last 2 years, they're not going to be able to do as long as Republicans stick together.
Yeah, and again, listen, it's the lies they put out, right? It's how they interpret it and how they put it out. If the media found out the sun was going to supernova tomorrow, Craig, the headlines would say warm weather tomorrow followed by cooler weather for a lot longer. Yeah,
no, I hear you. Yeah, but my thing is that Republicans got to stick together. That's my takeaway from that is, for example, right now we just saw yesterday in the Senate, 12 Republicans voted to end the filibuster so that the national vote on same-sex marriage could take place. And I'm like, okay, think about this. If there were a vote to define marriage as between a man and a woman, and Democrats were needed in order to close out, in order to be able to end the filibuster, how many Democrat senators do you believe would have voted to end debate so that a vote could actually take place?
That would be zero.
That would be zero. And yet we had 12 Republicans who decided to do that. See, the thing is it, to a certain degree, I get it. The role of the filibuster is to actually bring about robust debate. And in this, we know that there was no robust debate on this particular initiative. They're saying, well, it's not really for an up or down vote. It's about the debate. Well, they didn't have any robust debate. They didn't have any discussions. They didn't have subcommittee hearings where you could talk about what the impact is or talk about how you could massage the legislation in order to allow states the rights to define these things themselves as the Constitution says they're supposed to be able to do. None of that was done. And so because there was not that robust debate, the debate should not be ended. But once again, we had 12 Republicans the Republicans did not stick together. Folks, it's not going to do us any good to have a majority, especially a 1-seat majority in the House, if we're not going to stick together.
And listen, that's pretty much what Senator Rick Scott outlined yesterday with his letter to become, the Senate leadership for the Republican Party. So that was exactly it. Sticking together, get the agenda, get the plan, have a plan. Let's just not all go willy-nilly and do whatever the heck we want. And, let's organize ourselves. Let's act as one body,
right?
Or one force. Obviously, there's always going to be a little bit different here and there, and nobody wants a robot. But let's at least put down on paper what our agenda is, and that's what he was talking about: the teamwork and the initiative to do that.
Well, and I'm hoping that's what they do, because obviously, Mitch McConnell actually won re-election as the Republican leader there in the Senate. I'm hoping that the words put forth by Senator Rick Scott are taken to heart, and that there is an actual agenda, that they are actually taking the time to work together and stand united, because the majority, it is appearing, their minority status in the Senate and our majority status in the House are so slim that we cannot really afford to be dilly-dallying, to not be working together. Just saying.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Talking about having a plan. Now, however you feel about President Donald Trump, you have to know he knows his audience, and he has a plan. And his plan is to basically start to address and undo some of the BS that has been put out there by the left, or been put out there by the current president. And one example of this, and this is, oh God, my God, this is such low-hanging fruit. I'm surprised that you haven't heard anybody talk about this, talk about doing this, right? And it's real simple. Trump, from the very beginning, has vowed to re-enlist and provide back pay to those troops who were fired over the COVID-19 vaccine. So, in other words, if you were fired, if you were let go, if you were released, number one, if you want to come back, we're going to let you come back into the military. Same rank, same position. And then on top of that, we're going to give you back pay for the time that you were not here in the military. And the thing, Mike, is that I think that this is well, it's a little bit of genius, is what it is, and I'm hoping that well, it's a good sign that his candidacy is starting off in the right direction.
Do you have that? There's a little video clip there, like 15, 20 seconds of him there. I don't know if you had that or could bring that up. Craig, let me just outline what this means for the folks. First off, the military is sorely behind in their recruiting goals. Can't get anybody to stay in or enlist. Every branch is way down on their recruiting goals, on their retention goals as well. The first round of cuts to toss military members out was with active duty last year, June of last year. All right, so you're talking June of 21, right? You're talking if Donald Trump wins the re-election, he comes into office in January of 25, right? You figure take maybe 2 months, 3 months to get some paperwork done, maybe 6 months. You're talking about people that may have been out of the military for almost 4 years when this comes around. I wish I had that crystal ball, right? Because if I was in the military right now, still on active duty, I'd say, ain't taking the shot, but I'll be at the house waiting for you to write me a check in 4 years when I come back. You're talking about a significant chunk of money to the individual. Obviously, the government just prints more money off the trees, right? But this could be a boon for military members now that are sitting on the fence. Who do I vote for? I've always traditionally voted for the left. Now, the military's always been a much higher percentage rate that votes for, the conservatives or the Republican Party, but this is just going to jack those numbers up even more.
Oh, most definitely. And I was able to pull down the clip, so let's check it out real quick.
We will abolish every Biden COVID mandate and rehire every patriot who was fired from our military with an apology and full back pay.
Yeah, there he is. There's the man. Just, and listen, in reality, that might get him, that many votes, compared to the rest of the nation. But you know what that does? That spreads the word that, man, this guy does care about, the public servants and the military and everything, unlike what they're going through right now.
Well, what it is rather than complaining about what the Biden administration did, he's actually doing something about it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of other folks are going to say. Well, I'm going to do this. No, he's actually talking about, look, this is something that's real simple. It is low hanging fruit and well within the authority of the president to be able to do that.
Yep. Here's my plan to fix it on day one. Boom. What do you got? What do you got for me? Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. All right. So anyway, you guys keep an eye on that. Obviously, President Trump is not playing around, and he's going to have a little bit before he's going to decide. And it's interesting that Ron DeSantis has went out of his way the other day yesterday in particular to put a damper on any people trying to stoke a fire in terms of a fight between him and President Trump. I thought that was very, very wise of him. Rather than stoking the flame, he decided to put a nice ice cold bucket of water on that and say, nope, sorry, ain't gonna be no infighting.
I told you, Ron DeSantis is a very smart man. His camp's very smart people, and let's be clear. Listen, President Trump is going to say some things. Listen, it's like being in a brawl and a couple of haymakers land on the guy that's on your team. That's what's going to happen here. Okay, Trump's going to say some. People are going to misconstrue it. They're going to try and say he took a shot at you, and he's going to go, no, he was just swinging, and I happened to be in the wrong spot at the right time.
Right. Well, all I know is I will just say this. Trump's only got so many of those haymakers to throw around before Ron DeSantis is going to be like, dude, what the heck?
Well, and then I think at that point
Yeah.
that actually pushes it to the sit down. Again,
Right.
smart man, smart team. They're not going to make it public. Ron DeSantis is smart enough to know that if he goes after Trump, then that hurts the party.
Right. Well,
But
I just
everybody
wish
expected from
President Trump was smart
you know?
enough to know that if he doesn't do that, he's in the bird dog seat.
Well, but again, we expect it from Trump. Now we don't expect
Yeah.
him to go out and be mean and rude and take DeSantis down on a personal basis,
Right.
But we know he says things like, "Oh, well, Marco Rubio, he's got little hands," or whatever it was.
Right.
Little Marco. He was just being him, being I guess you got to live in New York City to know this kind of humor. What's with this guy? Who brought this guy? What's wrong with his nose? That's the kind
Right.
of thing. That's how you talk to your friends there.
Well, and I think that I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Another Soros DA has been let go. That's right. When I say let go, I mean removed from office in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania legislature has actually. Why are you shaking your head, Mike? I see you shaking your head.
They impeached him, Craig. The House has impeached him. It still has to go before the state Senate there.
I stand corrected. Nonetheless, he has been voted to be impeached there in the state of Pennsylvania. Folks, now once again, Pennsylvania. These are the guys who signed these are the people, voters who are just elected Fetterman to be their senator, right? So you can't say that this is some right-wing cabal. This is actually the result of an individual who, quite frankly, like so many of the Soros-funded district attorneys, has simply decided that they are not going to do their job. They are not going to do their job when it comes to enforcing the laws, either federal or the laws there of the state of Pennsylvania. And what are they saying the chances are that he is actually going to fully be voted out by the Senate?
Well, I'll give you the numbers and let you figure it out. This is Larry Krasner, and again, he's Soros appointed. Craig just showed you all the statistics. Crime rate gone through the roof, murders, homicides, all that. The rapes, the gun crimes, whatever it happens to be, violent crimes involving guns. Impeached by the state House of Representatives there in Pennsylvania. Now it must go to the Senate. The Senate must have a 2/3 majority vote to find that they find him guilty and they impeach him, or excuse me, they convict him of the crimes, high crimes and misdemeanor, whatever they're accusing him of. And Craig, the Republicans are 6 seats short of the 2/3 supermajority. So they're going to have to find 6 seats amongst their Democrat peers if they want to make this happen.
It's interesting because what they're saying is, now I'm reading through the article again. What they're saying is, well, he hasn't really done anything that is impeachable. Well, I'm sorry, when you decide that you are not going to do the job that you were elected to do, when you refuse to enforce the laws then you basically, that's a dereliction of duty. How is that not an impeachable offense? When you say, I'm just going to let criminals run the streets, and your job is law enforcement, how is that not an impeachable offense? My only wish is that this had happened earlier, because if it had happened earlier, then they could have pointed out all the crime and then just point out, look, this is what Democrats are going to do. This is what a Fetterman wants to do. These Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania are a microcosm of an example of exactly what John Fetterman will be doing at the federal level in the Senate, except they can actually speak English.
Yeah, listen, again, you're right. It's a giant malfeasance of office. They can remove him from it. This is their state's procedure. It does happen with district attorneys. We've seen that. We've seen that in California, right? In Florida, Governor DeSantis did with the district attorney down in Tampa, because that's how it's written into our state laws and Constitution. The governor here has the authority to remove people from office if they break the law. And the governor said he violated his oath. He's perjured himself, written in a couple of times that he said he wasn't going to be enforcing the law. So took him out. So hopefully they find those right votes there those right votes there in Pennsylvania, and they can keep this guy out of there.
Right. Well, yeah. Hopefully, we're rooting for you out there in Pennsylvania. Hopefully, the folks, hopefully there are some Democrat members of the legislature. Because here's the thing, folks, the crime is highest in the areas represented by those Democrat legislators. I guarantee you that is in fact the case. You go in some of those urban areas, I guarantee you that's exactly in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia. That's where you'll find the highest crime rates, the most. And by the way, that's also where you will find the majority of the. I won't say the majority. You'll find a disproportionate number of these criminals who are being let back out on the streets.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's we see that in every city, right? All this criminal justice reform, which is going to make people instantaneously be better, not working out for them.
It is not. It is definitely not working out. Well, another thing that doesn't appear to be working out, at least not initially, are the New York gun control laws. And guess what? They are back. So the laws that they passed, the things that they put in place, following the New York rifle and pistol case, which was decided, which basically said that you do have a right to possess a firearm for self-defense outside of the home. Well, we know that New York passed a whole bunch of laws that basically made it so that, yes, you have a right to carry a firearm outside of your home, except for anywhere outside of your home. They made pretty much every place a sensitive place and made it difficult for you to even figure out how you can, or when or where you can carry. Those laws were actually, there was an injunction that was put in place as those laws were ruled to be unconstitutional. Well, the Court of Appeals in that area, I believe it's the Second Circuit, has actually they've actually put a stay on the decision, as well as a stay on the injunction. So there's no more injunction. So now most of the Bruin laws are back in effect, meaning in many cases, a lot of the sensitive places, laws, or what's the word, provisions of this law have been put back in place there in New York, while the case is being debated at the appellate level.
Yes, they've left standing the case previous to that with the couple of churches out west where the religious heads there, the priests, the rabbis, petitioned and got that right back. So that's the only thing. When Craig says most of the laws back in place, well, that part was under a different ruling, so it was not attached to this ruling. Craig, I don't know about you, but this is a good thing. It may suck to be the people in New York right now if you're trying to figure out what's going on with your gun rights, but guess what the next level above the Second Appeal Circuit is? If you want to, if you don't like the decision from those judges in that panel, guess where you go from there?
Well, it would be the Supreme Court, and that's going to be the next level. This is eventually going to make it to. Well, let me clarify. It all depends because as what happens in the Ninth Circuit, if the Second Circuit, if the appeals court judge, usually it's a small panel. It's usually a 3-judge panel. If they rule on behalf of the gun grabbers, then there will be no en banc. En banc is where you bring together the entire circuit and they hear the case, right? And usually we never get en banc when we lose. I'm also almost hoping that at the circuit level we lose so that we can skip en banc and go straight to the Supreme Court. Now, if gun owners win en banc, win at the 3-judge level, then the losers will request en banc, and they almost always get it. So all that does, and then we may or may not lose at that level, and then it'll go to the Supreme Court. So I think losing at the 3-judge panel level is actually a good thing because it fast tracks us to the Supreme Court.
I think what we used to see, Craig, was when we would request, we would not get the en banc review. We would not get the full panel review. Mm-hmm. However, if you'll notice with a lot of federal judges, now that Bruin's out, they're pulling the whole no-brainer. Like, well, hey, listen, the Supreme Court gave me a manual here on what to do. So it's no longer them having to interpret, no longer them having to fight, mm-hmm. no longer them having to go back and forth with one side or the other. Now they get to sit back and go, This is cut and dry. Here's what Bruin says. Let's do it. I see a lot more federal judges acting now. Remember, it was always the Democrat judge from Hawaii, right? Well, every week it's another federal judge did this, another federal judge did this, and they said because of the guidelines set down in Bruin, this was a no-brainer decision. I think that happens if we ask for en banc.
I am hoping that is in fact the case. One thing I want to say that's it's kind of interesting, and I noticed that some people call it Bruin. I don't call it Bruin because as a general rule, when you are citing a case, you cite the winner, not the loser. And Bruin was the loser in this case.
Right.
But I noticed that everybody calls it Bruin.
Yeah, well, because here's the other option: New York State Rifle and Pistol Case Association. You know,
I just call it New York Rifle and Pistol.
New York. Yeah, but that's not correct. It's the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, right? Or NISPRA. You know?
Well, but it's like calling it like no one like Roe v. Wade. It's like no one goes through the entire calling it. Was it Jane Roe? I don't know.
Well, yeah, but Roe v. Wade is 3 syllables. You know, the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association is 10 syllables.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, but we shorten it. I'm shortening it. I don't know. Once again, I find it funny that we call it Bruin.
And in New York, Bruin's 1 syllable, by the way. Bruin. Bruin.
Just so you know, those of you in New York, you hear him taking those cultural shots at you. Bigot. He's like,
that's where I'm from. Those are my people.
All right. Well, now that we are past the bottom of the hour, it's time for us to get into our parting shots. We got some good ones for you. The first one, let's just say this is to our good friend Nancy Pelosi. I'm so glad to see you no longer as the Speaker of the House. As Donald Trump would have to say, you're fired. Hey, Nancy, you're fired.
You're fired.
Yeah, so for those of you who are just listening to the program, it's basically Uncle Sam. You know, that whole I want you poster where he's pointing at the thing. It says, hey, Nancy, you're fired. Mike had a good suggestion. He said, I wish I had taken the time to try and find the one with Donald Trump as the doing The Apprentice saying, you're fired.
So speaking of the House, Craig, the crack intern staff has informed me with the 7 races left that Republicans are clearly in the lead in 4 of them. So if they steal 1 or 2 more of those, we got a chance to go 50-50 with them. Yeah.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to tell you something. That means that in order to do that, we will have had to take at least 3 more seats from Democrats. And some of those are going to be in California. Now, I will say this. We were looking at some of the numbers last night with some of the folks, and unfortunately, the way in which California legislative districts were drawn, it's weird. We gained seats in Congress and in House, but we lost seats. Now, mind you, we're in the super minority in both the House, in both the lower house and the upper house in California, but we lost seats in both. Go figure. But we gained seats in Congress in California.
But you held on to your 2 Senate seats, so that's good.
No, but that's okay. Thank you, America. America, this is for you. I guess we figured California's done for. We'll help America by sending more Republicans from California. Which, by the way, a California Republican, there's a good chance they're like a Florida Democrat. Not all the time, but some of them.
My joke was you can't lose the total number of Senate seats. It's 2 per state. So.
Yeah, I know. But if Republicans could find a way to lose a Senate seat, they would. California Republicans are, our state party is not run by very intelligent people. They're just not.
That's right. It's run by the turkeys out on Peyote Trail.
There you go. Anyway, next we have, the Democrats. We already see that President Trump has already launched his campaign, and we talked a little bit about, what 2024 could look like for the Democrats, what the plan is. We had talked about how they're possibly going to replace Kamala Harris, and they appear to be taking a step up in terms of the level of intellect that they're going to have at the lower half of the ticket. And that is in 2024, we've got Biden Fetterman. 2024, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
There are so many double entendres here. It's like, okay, does that mean there's not a brain between them? Or it just makes sense because they're both so stupid? What do you think? What do you think, Mike?
I think you're overanalyzing. Just go with the initial laugh and move on.
All right, we will go with the initial laugh. Initial laugh, more Fetterman jokes. I'll let you describe this one.
Never go full retard. It's got Robert Downey Jr. as the soldier in Tropic Thunder, right? Never go full. What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? It's got but Mr. Biden and Mr. Fetterman there, and it says never go full retard. And listen, I'm not referring to either one of these as having a mental disability. I'm saying all of you idiots that voted for him are retarded. That's pretty much how I feel. So, Pennsylvania,
I would tend to agree. Tend to agree.
Yeah, we know that. But listen, both. I mean, realistically, both of these people have a medical condition that should preclude them from serving in government, let alone driving a vehicle. Okay, so how they're in office, I don't know, but
I agree with you on that one. And then we'll go with one more. This is I guess it's supposed to be Calvin and Hobbes, or
I love Calvin and Hobbes.
It says not Calvin. I'm sorry, it says not Calvin. And it's got not Calvin. Once again, because this is not Calvin. It's got not Calvin and his mom walking down the street. And his mother asks him, well, your haircut is a big improvement. And then he says to his mother, you like what it says on the back of my head? What? What says? Didn't the barber shave FJB back there? Good heavens, no. So then the little boy goes back to the barber. Okay, Charlie, give me back that tip.
Yep.
Fun stuff.
You know what? I always thought Calvin's mom was kind of hot in like a Stacy's mom kind of way.
Okay. We're just going to leave that right there. We're just going to leave that right there. All right. With that, time for a shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hello again to our good friends, Hitman Industries. Check them out for your AR barrel needs. That's hitmanindustries.net. Make sure you get over to uscombatgear.com if you want some tactical gear. For great holsters, go to Hog Holsters, HAWG holsters.com. Don't forget your discount code, The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces, and then say hello to the California Republican Assembly. Make sure you get on board early with them. Look at the difference they're making out in California right now.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment, visit our sponsors, let them know that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Feedback Friday. Looking forward to going into the weekend with a bang. I'll let you later.
Pew, pew, pew.